go.
I'm in.
Oh, of course, it's night again.
I'm in a little hole.
Oh no, it's almost morning. Perfect.
I can see
Perfect.
the orange on the clouds.
And we're back.
Watching the sunrise from a hole in the ground.
Got a nice vantage point. I didn't get to do anything over the night except cook some food, but I have a nice vantage point for this.
See, this makes me want horizontal wicker so that I can kind of build myself like, what do they used to call those? They used to throw the POWs in those holes in the ground. But somehow I feel if I was looking at the sky through like a grate or something, like it would give me a moment.
All them flashbacks.
Yeah. Ah, Charlie's up in the trees. They got Billy. No. Okay, I'm done with that. I do have a shovel. I got a couple of picks, an axe. I think I should. Okay, so when we were last playing, I think we had kind of figured out that we might be near to each other, maybe.
Possibly, yeah.
So we need a plan of action.
Well, I see a giant ice river. I'm on the top of a giant snow mountain.
I'm gonna climb out of my hole. Okay, well, fuck, there's rivers everywhere, but I'm standing on the shore of a giant ice river right now. Okay, actually, wait. Okay, sun is rising in the east. To my direct north, there is a big-ass mountain range.
I'm on a big-ass mountain range.
Is the river to your south?
The river is to my east, if that's where the sun rises from. Yeah.
So the sun rises in the east. It's to your east? Okay, well, this, I think,
There's
actually...
There's also a river to my south.
I'm to the
like
south,
yeah.
Ooh, okay, I think we may be onto something. Let me build a little phallus here.
I'm having trouble loading that, so I'm going to come down.
Are you looking in that direction now?
I am.
From the mountains?
I am. Gonna come down from the mountains and start walking that way since chunks aren't loading well for me.
I'm gonna build a little cross here.
Let's see.
That looks distinctly unnatural, which is good enough. I built it on the top of a smaller hill, so hopefully it can be seen from a bit of a distance, just made out of dirt.
Okay. I see a big old break in the ice to my, I guess that would be west? Yeah, west.
I think I see some pumpkins.
Is there a forest or a, I guess a taiga to your south?
No. Oh. No, not in any direction. I seem to be kind of in the midst of this mountain range here.
Ah. Well.
Yeah, I think this mountain range goes on for a while, so...
I'm gonna head back to that mountain range. Because the mountain range I was on had a frozen river on 2, maybe 3 sides of it. And I was like,
the one I'm looking at actually has pumpkins on... Oh, fuck, it's starting to snow. That's
Yup.
going to reduce visibility.
I actually don't know how weather works in Minecraft. Is it localized or is it the whole
it's global.
Once? Okay.
It's global. It's basically precipitation on-off kind of thing.
Gotcha.
And the type of precipitation is biome-specific.
Gotcha. So that does not give us any clues there. Okay.
Oh, and I see a mountain with a pumpkin right near the top, actually. Oh, fucking, there are a lot of rivers running through this range. I do see a taiga now, though.
Let me climb back up my mountain.
Ooh. Almost just took fall damage. Yeah, I'm climbing up the range I was talking about myself.
Okay.
Oh, I see a lava flow. That should be helpful. Along the north side of one mountain range. There's a lava waterfall.
Take a look. You know, I'm going to build a little dirt structure here. Just so I don't go in circles anymore. There we go. So put a little dirt cross in the
Okay,
top.
I
of the mountain.
climbed to the top of the tallest mountain. I'm gonna build another cross. So
Sounds good.
if we're anywhere near each other, that should be visible. I wish I had a torch on me. I don't have any coal, unfortunately.
Yeah, same here. I haven't gotten a single bit since I died. I'm sorry, since
Okay.
you killed me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I deserve everything you got over that one.
That was kind of a group effort. I just kind of poked my head out and was like, what's out here? Oh, that guy's got a sword.
Yeah, you did let in the second one, but I still feel responsible.
I see a waterfall on the side of this mountain.
Don't see that.
Kind of thinking we're not close to each other.
Yeah, it's possible I might be close to our original base or something, because something left those tree leaves not despawning.
Right.
Like one of us was around here before. Now that could have been when we originally spawned, but it doesn't look like the area we originally spawned in, which makes me think that you might have been here.
Yeah, I did kind of wander for a while and got lost again. Okay, here's another mountain range with a big old river going through it. Frozen river. Couple waterfalls. It's actually a really nice area, though.
Yeah, I think that lava fall will actually be an excellent landmark if you ever see that.
Got my fingers crossed. The amount of food I have on me is kind of absurd, though.
Okay, so I erected a cross on the tallest mountain in the area.
Okay. Let me climb up a little bit. Get out of this valley I'm in.
And
Snow.
like I said, there's a neighboring hill with 3 pumpkins on top, which would actually be something else you might spot at a distance.
Excellent. Shall climb up to the top of this and see what I can see.
Actually, I'm going to make the cross have prongs on all 4 sides, so it'll be more visible from each direction.
Sounds good.
Oops. Okay, so I'll stay in the vicinity of this thing so that
Yeah, I'm just gonna poke.
you ever
around the
do
rest of
happen to
these
find it.
mountain ranges I'm near. Yeah, because I'm pretty set to travel. Just with the ridiculous amount of food I have.
I've got some good food. It's all raw. I gotta spend some time on the cobble.
I gotta stop accidentally making cobblestone slabs. That's
That
something
sucks.
I waste a lot of resources on.
Ooh, lots of sheepies. Sorry, piggy. No bootsies for you. I wouldn't mind having a pet pig.
I've had a couple friends who have had pet pigs.
Well, I meant in game. But
Oh. Oh, so you're gonna start working on a virtual pet system?
Oh yeah, that's what I'm all about.
I've heard it is the most efficient use of time when it comes to
Oh yeah.
games.
It's not like developers make entire games that revolve just around that, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's just crazy. Too. Oh, I see a cross. Never mind. That's my own cross. Damn it! I loop back around. Found my own
The
cross.
one on the hilltop is really friggin' evident. I'm down below now, and it's like, it instantly jumps out as, okay, that's not natural.
Yep, I'm pretty sure we're not near each other. I just checked all the mountains, and the only cross I found was the one I made.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Punch the pig.
Now I'm trying to decide if I want to just try to go for a compass. I have to say, at first, I was very resistant to the fact that compasses, you had to get a full iron pickaxe for to do redstone.
Right.
But it definitely contributes to that whole persistent roguelike feel, and I like that now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. It's a huge adjustment period for people for sure. Like the changes I recently made to wood, where it takes forever to punch them. Like, man, that so hurts when you first do it.
Oh yeah.
But that's the thing. It's like, again, it's that added impact to death, right? It's the overall sense of progression.
Right.
Like you'll notice it's not a perfect curve. Like I didn't freaking plot it out on paper or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you'll notice there's like a definite progression curve now in terms of tech, you know,
Right.
where it's like very slow at start and starts going up a gradual incline. By the time, and when you finally do hit diamonds, you know, again, it's one of those angelic choir moments, you know, where it's like stone is no longer an issue. You know, I can cut through it like butter. And to a lesser
Yeah.
extent, sorry?
Bit of a confession here. Since the changes, I haven't made it to Diamond Tech yet.
Yeah, you mentioned that. You mentioned that. Well, you get to look forward to it then.
Yes.
Like
I
I love
can't wait.
the getting to diamond state.
Mm-hmm.
Like you were asking about like the aspects of the mod that I took the most satisfaction in, and in recent memory anyway, that was one of them. Is when I first got the diamonds after I put in hardcore stratification. Like there's this whole aspect that in order to get diamonds, you have to descend into a level of the earth that you can't effectively modify, right?
Right.
Kind of that very dark stone color, and then first of all, the stone, just the color, like it makes everything feel really oppressive. Like it feels dangerous. And there are some subtle aspects, like I don't think anybody really noticed it yet, but like even the blast resistance of the stone varies. So like if you ever see a creeper explode down there, like it might destroy one block. You know,
I hadn't
like
noticed
it.
that. No.
Yeah. There's a lot of kind of like little subtle aspects that help contribute to the fact that yes, I am in a dense material, right, and create that kind of claustrophobic, oppressive feeling. And I find when you're going for diamonds, that's when it really hits, and you end up, at least if you don't like, of course, you could just randomly stumble upon them, right? And I actually consider it rather unfortunate when that happens for people when that's their first experience with it, because there's this really kind of interesting aspect of trying to navigate those caves without being able to dig through them effectively, which feels distinctly un-Minecraft.
Exactly. That's something I kept feeling. It was very stressful, but in a good way, because
yeah, it takes you out of your comfort zone. You know,
I'm
it's
not
like
used to
you're
being
used
told no in Minecraft.
Yeah, exactly. And suddenly, like I was talking about the thought processes before, like suddenly you start having to think about things like, okay, how do I build to get across this lava pool? Can I skirt around the edges of it on this ledge here? You know, like you end up kind of worming your way through the cave networks, you know, and it's neat. Like it all adds up for me. Like I like that part of the game an awful lot, and it really ends up making, when you do find the diamonds, like it ends up making it feel like a real achievement instead of a non-event, which is kind of the case in Minecraft. Like the first time you discover diamonds in Minecraft, you get that oh wow sensation because you've never done it before, and you've yet to realize that they're just, you know, slightly improved iron. You know, like it's kind of a non-event again, you know, and which I think is rather unfortunate, particularly considering it's kind of the top of the Minecraft tech tree, right? Like the vanilla tech tree, like that's basically the end of the game, right? I guess, well, it opens up the Nether to you, which I guess would kind of be the top of Minecraft, even though you can't really do anything with the Nether.
Yeah.
I mean, anyway, yeah.
You could get quartz. I'm not even gonna try.
Yeah, I guess you can build the comparators with those, right? Yeah, whatever.
Exactly. The Nether has been always been my biggest disappointment in Minecraft, because when I started playing, it was the update right before the Nether. That was my first time playing Minecraft.
Oh, so you must have been super excited.
Oh, I was ridiculously excited. Then we went into the Nether. I was like, oh, this is so. And then within 20 minutes, like, wait, is there anything to do here?
Yeah.
And I've just been watching them, you know, adding fortresses and then adding everything to fortresses. So that's still the only point to go to the Nether. I guess quartz kind of helped, but I mean, it's so common, it's like a non-resource.
Yeah, which I've mentioned myself. Like, it was just, yeah. I was disappointed with that. Like, there were so many cool mechanics they could have done with it. Like, I even, off the top of my head, I was like, well, you know, maybe if you put it, like, only underneath lava lakes or something, you know, because then it opens up, like, Because there's that whole challenging aspect of building in the Nether. I don't know if you've ever done it where you're trying to like build into a lava lake or something,
Right.
you know, and you're like trying to block off the lava and fill it in and all this stuff. And there was the potential there with quartz, like if they had controlled its spawning relative to lava somehow, making it only form under lakes or something. Like it would have opened up that kind of gameplay, actually made it part of the game instead of just something you run into with aesthetic builds,
Exactly. Oh, and Better Than Wolves, I find, the number one thing I look forward to the Nether for is travel. More than anything, and that comes back to what you were talking about earlier, where there's the incentive to travel.
Exactly.
With the villages.
Well, and hopefully with that too, like another thing I was hoping with that was to further encourage rail networks a bit more and that kind of stuff, because I don't think people want to go, traveling on foot in the Nether too much, so it kind of provides that motivation to start thinking about stuff like that.
I thoroughly enjoy that rail get love in Better Than Wolves because they've always been my favorite part of Minecraft, and I just have seen them cut down and down so often.
Yeah. Well, and almost from the start, like you weren't around during that time, but like Better Than Wolves used to have minecart boosters basically before they were in vanilla.
Oh, really?
That was also back in the day when I included those new switch types for rails and all that kind of stuff as well. Like they've always been on my radar and have occupied a place in my heart as well. And I've got rails running all over my frigging world.
Oh yeah, and if only I could figure out how to make an unloader.
Yeah, that's still really tricky with Better Than Wolves. It's something that I've been meaning to address for a long time. Is like I actually wanted to have some form of hopper minecart in the mod for a long time, but admittedly when that was included in vanilla, like it takes a bit of wind out of your sails.
Right.
It's like it's kind of already been done, and it's always a hell of a lot more fun working on your own ideas.
Right.
It's like it's kind of that creative satisfaction of making a thought manifest, making it a reality.
As opposed to fixing someone else's mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and you mentioned too, like during one of our breaks, wanting to talk about, my policy towards suggestions, and I guess that kind of leads into it. Is like part of it is like I think a lot of other modders consider themselves primarily programmers, right? And fuck, I've done a shit ton of programming in my life. I am a programmer, right? But in terms of who I consider I consider myself to be a designer. Like if somebody asks me, what do you do? I say I'm a game designer, right? I just also happen to have the programming skill set. So I think for a lot of modders, that primarily consider themselves to be programmers, a lot of the satisfaction they get out of making their mod comes from writing the code itself. Right. Whereas since I consider myself primarily a designer, most of the satisfaction I get comes from coming up with cool ideas and making them manifest, right? Making them a reality. Now, of course, this is nobody's fault, but one of the things that actually gets really annoying about suggestions is when I have an idea to do something in the game, and a lot of times too, it's like you'll notice how one of my features leads into the next, right?
Right.
So I may have this like grand scheme for like, okay, I'm going to send the player to the moon, 5 releases from now, right? So it's like I start putting in stuff like rocket engines and all this. I've been playing a lot of Kerbal Space Program, so I guess that's why I'm thinking in those terms. So, I had a tragic incident with a team on their way to the Mun yesterday.
I haven't gotten in orbit yet.
Yeah, two out of my 3 potential Mun explorers are currently on a parallel orbit to Earth, or to Kerbin, but just slightly further out. So they're kind of trapped in dead space with no way home, and I have no idea. I may mount a rescue mission. But yes, anyway. This has been weighing heavily on my mind, man.
I can understand. I can hear the sadness.
Those poor Kerbins. One made it home, though. I did manage to rescue one. Anyway, So, what the fuck was I saying?
Rockets to the moon suggestions.
Oh, yeah. So, say I have like this grand plan for like rockets to the moon, or getting the player to the moon. So, release after release, I'll start putting in all the bits and pieces and, this kind of thing. So, as I do that, it tends to it tends to start hinting at the fact that we may eventually be going to the moon, right?
Right.
As players. And especially since, there are tens of thousands of minds out there perceiving this and potentially making this connection between all the individual features I'm putting in. Now, one of the most disheartening moments I experience in the mod is, say, after 4 out of 5 releases that I'm slowly working towards getting people to the moon, somebody pops onto the suggestion forum and says, "Hey, I have a great idea. Why don't you implement people traveling to the moon?" Right? And there's this weird sensation that you get when that that happens, right? Because you're working towards that moment. You're building towards it. You're pouring all this effort into making it happen, and it's weird because then it's suddenly. And I know Notch actually tweeted about this years ago, a couple of years at least, about kind of that you never really feel like implementing somebody else's idea.
Right.
Right? And there's that sense when something that has been suggested of, in that it's almost like it's no longer your own, it's like the first revelation, because you know how I love to keep secrets, right? And surprise people with stuff, right? So it's like the first revelation of it to the world like came from another source, and it's just like all of a sudden it's kind of it takes the wind out of your sails, right?
Right. Yeah.
And it's perfect. Well, like I said, nobody's fault, right? Like it just kind of happens, right? And people make these connections and, this kind of thing, but it's interesting, and it's a new experience for me, right? Because, like I said, I'm used to working in the industry, so it's like I'm habituated to working on a game for a year or two, and nobody's seen it, and it's all of a sudden, it's like, okay, here's the completed game unleashed upon the world, and that's that, So this kind of experience of constantly being in contact with the community that's playing the game, or the players that are playing the game, like there's a lot of aspects to it I love, right? But there are other aspects like that where it's just like, oh man, like it totally feels like somebody's stealing your thunder, right?
Right.
I don't know if you can get what I'm saying.
I can understand. I can understand.
Yeah. So anyway, that's kind of one aspect of it that led into it as to why I actually don't like suggestions that much. Even the good ones sometimes I'm just like, oh man, like you just spoiled my surprise party.
Yeah.
And what do you say to that? Like I still haven't figured out what to say to that when somebody like basically rolls the stripper out on stage in a wheelbarrow, already spread eagle.
Right, yeah. and there goes all the build up.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what do I say? I was like, oh, well, okay, I was already working on that, or do I ignore it, or what the fuck do I do, Icy? I don't know what to do, man.
That's why when I was talking about enchanting, I was so awkward bringing it up because I knew that you've been considering the enchanting system. And I just... Yeah,
it's almost freaking random, man. It's like whether I have been thinking about something or not, like... You have no way of knowing.
Yeah.
Right? And in the case where you did bring that up, like, I just agreed with you, because it's kind of like a big question mark in my mind, too, right? That's been going on in the background. And I'll keep thinking about that until I'm ready to move on it, right? It's like I was saying before, it's like some of these ideas I put out, I've been considering for months before you guys see them, right? Making sure they really work. And I have, like, a big, long-ass to-do list of stuff I've already decided will work, that I work on in the meantime. So I implement that stuff I'm absolutely certain about. And there have been many times, too, where I've gone to my to-do list, to work on something next. And suddenly I'll realize, like, no, this has to go back to the drawing board. Like, I got to think about this further before it happens.
Yeah.
Sometimes they even go on the mod. Like, a couple of releases ago, when I made the changes to wood, I think I may have talked about this on IRC, but at one point I actually had it in the mod where sticks were dropping from decaying leaves, right? Which is a pretty obvious idea. It's like sticks come from leaves, not from logs, right? Um, and I almost did that as a conciliatory gesture towards people because I knew punching wood was a bitch, and I was going to be kind of like, well, look, but now you get the sticks from the leaves, kind of to help make up for it. And then I put it in the mod, and I just started thinking about it more, and I was just like, and it was quick. It was like, 5-minute job to put in the mod anyway. Sticks already exist, leaves already exist. It was just a matter of telling leaves they have sticks. So I put it in, and then I started thinking about it, and I'm like, man, after wood tools, like, sticks are basically the only wood that you use.
Right.
Right? Like, if I actually go with this, there is just no real reason to ever chop trees again. Right? So all the work I did with axes to make them an integral part of the game and all that, well, it basically goes out the window. Like, I just nuked all of it, So, yeah, that line of code, or those few lines of code, bit it real quick after I realized that, Anyway. So how the fuck are you doing in-game?
Pretty well. Got a lot of food. I've just been kind of wandering at this point.
Okay.
Kind of.
Yeah, I will say that I don't think either of our efforts are very focused.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Just kind of chatting and playing.
I'm enjoying a lot of scenery.
Yeah, I have torches.
Really? I have 10.
So,
I have 10 coal, so I could have torches.
So I'm actually going to torch my landmarks here to make them a little more evident. The one way up on the mountain range, I'm not going back up there, and it already looks like a giant cock sticking out of the mountain, so I'm sure you'd see it. Yep. But my little cross is all torched to make more obvious.
A giant ice floe in the middle of what looks like an ocean. I'm not sure if this is an ocean, but it's either an ocean or a really big lake.
Well, I hope your viewers enjoy listening to us talk, because our playing sucks.
Yep. I
feel I should be so much further along in the tech tree right now. Sorry?
I have almost 6 nuggets worth of fat built up.
Oh my god.
Yep.
Okay, I only have half, but half a nugget. I still haven't cooked any. Fuck, I didn't make a furnace. Okay, I'm totally brain farting on play right now. What I want is a pair of boots.
Not socks.
I got my boots.
I'm rocking out half armor. I've got a toque. I'm saying it wrong again, aren't I?
No, that's right.
Excellent. And a tunic. So
I have enough wool for pants. Ooh, no, I can make a tunic. Had a different color wool there. Okay, and leather pants or leather hat?
The most important decision you'll ever make. There we go.
Oh, I'm styling. Oh, yeah. They got a little protection.
Yeah, I just, I think if nothing else, this, Let's Play is proving the complaints wrong. Because neither of us are paying shit for attention, and we're just fine.
No. And my attempts at wrecking the game aside, yeah, we're perfectly fine.
I have made no progress, but,
Yeah, but that kind of says something in itself, right? Like, we're not desperately struggling to survive. We're just, kind of puttering around.
Exactly. I've literally been just wandering while we're chatting.
I think really it's just comes down to that adjustment period we were talking about, where it's like, yeah, it's way frigging harder than Minecraft, but like Minecraft is a frigging joke, right? Like, it's impossible to screw up in Minecraft.
I have to say, my very first time playing Minecraft, I screwed up pretty bad.
Did you?
Oh yeah, I did not know you could make a crafting table. My first time playing Minecraft.
Right.
So I spent about 3 days before I learned you could make tools.
Oh, nice.
So
you really did have bloody fingernails by the end of that.
I was like,
wow.
So I'm punching all this stuff. I get the dirt. Do I have to make everything out of dirt? And that was my first Minecraft experience. And I learned about things like wikis. So.
Yeah, I think before trying Minecraft for the first time, like I watched that How to Survive Your First Night video.
Oh,
So I already had like a basic idea of that kind of stuff. I'm kind of sad I missed out on that though. That sounds kind of cool.
My introduction to Minecraft was someone had casually mentioned it in a podcast I listened to, so purely verbal. And very briefly, I was like, oh, that sounds kind of cool. A building game. I'll try it.
Yeah, and then a couple of years later,
I'm just like, wow, I'm still playing this game? What happened?
Yeah. Yeah, that really is the genius of it. But you see how much it's already affecting the games industry, like the kind of games that are coming out now.
Oh yeah.
Like people creating stuff, and it's not always obvious, but you know, I firmly believe that like games like Prison Architect and even Kerbal Space Program wouldn't be in development if not for Minecraft, you know, or at least wouldn't be taken as seriously. You know, might not have the kind of funding that they do. You know, I think this is really the game that basically said to developers, hey, like, you know, player creativity is an important aspect of gameplay.
Right, right. And just kind of paved the way there.
Yeah. I can hardly play anything else anymore. Like, practically all the games that I play, like, when I want to play another game, I get that longing for creating something now, you know, and I find I just don't have any patience for games that don't provide it. Like, what was the most recent Battlefield game that came out? Was it Battlefield 3 or something?
I think so.
Yeah, I remember I played that like when it came out like a year ago. Like I've always really loved the Battlefield games. I was really into the original Battlefield 42. Absolutely love them. I used to be a big first-person shooter player too, so that just offered degrees of freedom that were like totally unprecedented for the time.
Right.
So I bought, despite it being a full-priced game and me being on a rather tight budget, I bought the newest Battlefield when it came out. And I remember one of the first levels that I got into, I was like hiding behind some cover. And I was just like, man, I so want to move this over like 5 feet, you know, so I can have a clear line of sight on that guy.
Mm-hmm.
And just the realization that I couldn't move this shit around kind of ruined it for me. You know, like I no longer felt like playing because I felt so damn limited in this environment, you know? So I think that's one of the biggest impacts that Minecraft has had on me as a player is like now I can hardly play games that don't give me some level of creativity and ability to modify my own environment.
Right.
You know?
We've been spoiled.
Yeah, yeah. So I wind up preferring playing a game with like where the world is made out of 1 meter cubes than playing something as gorgeous as the new Battlefield game, you know, like it just doesn't do it for me anymore, you know?
Yeah, I can, hadn't thought of it that way, but yeah, no, Minecraft has been the most persistent game in my life. Notice this.
Well, and even if you're not playing it anymore, I think it just kind of changes the way people perceive games, right?
Right.
And what they expect from them. You know, because we want to do this stuff now. Like, we want to, you know, dig gigantic holes in our world and build houses and all this kind of stuff. And, you know, that's actual gameplay. Like, prettier and prettier graphics aren't.
Right.
You know, like, they don't really give you anything more to consider. It's just, it's gaming porn, you know? It's like, it's just a total brain candy, you know? And I really have to give credit for Minecraft for that. It's like it's one of the few games in a very long time that actually developed 3D gameplay. You know, like I remember back in the Quake days, like it was weird what happened. Like I don't know if you remember the kind of stage the game industry went through when 3D accelerators really hit the market, like 3D graphics cards. But it was like games were, what was that? That was like the mid 90s or something. But games were really getting interesting at that point in terms of gameplay, right? Like some of the isometric games of the day, like remember Origin did this game called Crusader, which was kind of isometric action game, but where you had a lot of interaction with your environment and stuff like that. You know, there were games like Populous and Powermonger, from a few years before, where you were really modifying your environment. And there were the beginnings of 3D games like Magic Carpet and stuff like this, where modifying the terrain and environment were becoming a thing, right? There was kind of the first real massively multiplayer game, which was Ultima Online, and in terms of game design, that thing was far deeper than even the MMOs you got today. You know, it's like games today make a big deal about, oh, we got rideable mounts, and it's like, fuck, the first massively multiplayer game had that. Ooh, we have player housing. Yeah, again, you know, Ultima Online had the same thing way back in the day. And it was really funny what happened with the game industry when 3D accelerators came out, because all of a sudden the focus was on this new hardware that allowed us to do incredible 3D graphics, right? And as a result of that, everything else went out the friggin' window, right? And what we ended up with was basically, not in all areas of gaming, but in terms of the bulk of the games that came out, we ended up with like over a decade of iteratively better looking versions of Quake. Right, over and fucking over again. And I remember at one point in the early 90s, I said, is like basically game design, just almost all game design just reverted back to the level of Robotron, right? You know, where it became the point and click shooter, right? But now it was in 3D, and you were using a mouse instead of a second joystick to control your aiming direction, right? But in terms of game design, it got super simple all of a sudden. And it's really funny because, like, I'd say Minecraft was one of the first games I played since then where I looked at it and said, yeah, this game is better for being in 3D. Like, it actually contributes to the overall gameplay, right? You know, like, this is a real 3D game and one of the frigging first in, like, 20 years. Like, it's unbelievable, you know, for that. And you could see it even in how something like Terraria, it's, like, really cool game. I actually played a lot of it, but it in no way has the legs of Minecraft. Right, because, like, 3D is really, and I'd even say Terraria is better designed in a lot of ways. Like, there's a lot more shit to do than in Minecraft, right? But we keep coming back to Minecraft, you know, because 3D is actually an important aspect of this design. Like, in terms of building and everything, it stimulates you in ways that Terraria won't, you know?
Yeah, when I play Terraria, I always feel limited by that lack of a third dimension. It's just like I could just be playing paint with monsters.
Yeah, totally, man. And it's got some really cool systems. Like hardcore buckets actually came out of my time playing Terraria.
Oh,
right.
I didn't know.
Yeah, because I was playing Terraria, and I eventually realized I was having a fucking ball channeling the water around. Right. Now, the way water works in Minecraft, like Terraria can basically get away with that because it's in 2D. Right. Because doing frigging in any way realistic water physics is hugely computationally expensive. And also in the case of Minecraft being multiplayer, would consume a hell of a lot of bandwidth, right? Because you'd have all these blocks changing continuously. So it's really just, I know people like to bitch about, you know, how water works in Minecraft, but there are damn good reasons why it works the way it does, right? It's not really feasible to start doing, you know, fluid dynamics physics simulations in a real-time game. You know, it's like, forget about it. So yeah, in playing Terraria, I realized, well, fuck, I'm having a lot of fun just channeling water. And I realized that's basically all it came down to. It's like, I didn't need real-world physics for this. I just needed not to be able to move around water source blocks to create something similar, right? And to open up that kind of gameplay experience to people. So yeah, that's how Hardcore Buckets was born. Actually, it was just me realizing in Terraria that, wait, I can do something like this without, you know, needing a supercomputer.
Yeah, Hardcore Buckets is actually what sold me on Better Than Wolves when I first started playing.
Was that my first hardcore feature? I think it might have been.
I'm not sure, actually.
I think it might have been. I think it might have been, and I think it might have been one of those features I initially implemented as an experiment. Because I know it was one of the few features that I've ever made optional, right? And it was actually off by default when I first release it, and I think that's the... Well, no, I did that with Hardcore Spawn as well, because I was originally intended just for Anarchy play, and eventually people convinced me that, yeah, this is this is solid enough, it should just be in the game, you know? But yeah, I think Hardcore Buckets may have actually been my first hardcore feature.
I didn't know that.
Yep. Ooh, I have coal again. More torches.
Once again under a lake. This one's luckily frozen. Ooh, more coal. Excellent.
I love that wood chopping sound.
It's such a simple thing, but it's fantastic.
I know, it's just so satisfying to smack some wood. And it's just the zombie door bashing sound.
Oh. Well.
But nowhere close to as annoying.
I have to ask.
Well,
where did the house sound come from?
It's been in the game forever.
Really?
Yep, ever since they released Wolves. So even before Better Than Wolves existed, that sound has been in the game.
Was it ever used?
And nope. And I've had my eye on it ever since I first noticed it.
Fantastic.
Yeah. As to wanting to eventually include it, I just never got to it before, and plus, like, mob changes weren't really my thing in the past.
Right,
you know?
right.
So no, I eventually decided the time has come, and there was certainly a certain motivation on my part to kind of leave it towards the end of the development of Better Than Wolves.
Right.
Because of kind of like what I was saying earlier about, you know, the dual meaning of the name and all that, you know. Like, I thought it would actually make for an excellent finale to the mod, you know, where the wolves kind of went from being your companion to being one of your primary worries. You know?
They've definitely changed tone, I can tell you that.
Oh, yeah, big time.
I am even more happy when I suck them up into a little companion cube.
Yeah. I tend, like, once I get to a certain point in the tech tree, I just tend to kill them on sight now.
It was a little mind-blowing before, you know, the changes to wolves, how useful they became for a while there.
Yeah.
Once all the hardcore hunger changes went in and...
Well, I think that's one of the reasons that convinced me to... Or, yeah, one of the reasons why I was finally convinced to do that now instead of later.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've been planning that for a while, but I was seeing the posts about how they were becoming so useful within the mod now.
Right.
So I wanted to get that in now as a balancing factor to it, rather than leaving it to later. Well, no, it's fine. It's just that the thing is, it's like, if I leave it like that, then people become reliant on it when I know it's going to change, right?
Right.
Whereas I'd rather just people have kind of the finished product to play in that regard, you know? It's like, okay, well, wrap this aspect up then. Like, because for a long time people weren't bothering with them, so there was no rush for me to get that in or not, right?
Right.
But if people are using them now, like, I'd rather give them the... Sorry?
Speaking of wolves. Here. Take it. Go away. Nope. I'm being hunted down by one. He is... Okay,
I need to build a fucking furnace right now.
You still haven't
before I go outside and end up eating raw meat again.
Fantastic. Okay, survived the encounter with minimal damage and a couple wolf chops.
And I guess that's another haha noob thing in that all this time we've been yakking, I haven't even had a furnace and I'm surviving just fine. I think a lot of it too, though, is still people sprinting and jumping everywhere.
Right. That's a big joke. Oh, this might end badly for me.
What did you do?
There's a wolf who's just going crazy on me. I'm done. Oh, I have half a heart. And I'm in.
Did you throw some meat at him?
I tried. By the time I saw him, he had pushed me into a hole. There was a creeper there as well. So we're just gonna wait. Hope I live through this. I have half a heart and I'm in a hole.
I haven't heard any wolves howling my entire time here, so I think the likelihood we're close is pretty slim.
Yeah, most likely. Okay. Alright, so you got yourself a furnace yet?
Almost. Although I did get distracted again, so thank you.
Fantastic. Dying is terrifying, I have to say. Just the blindness. The first time that happened, I just didn't even know what to do.
Oh, yeah.
It just contributes to that freak out death spiral thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I've definitely had a few moments like that. Was it? I know there was a classic one I mentioned on the forums where I encountered 2 creepers, and it was just a huge clusterfuck where I ended up horribly wounded. Oh, that was it. The creepers ended up exploding. The blast didn't kill me. The concussion threw me into lava. I managed to hop out of the lava, but I was like critically wounded. Like I was completely messed up, limping, everything else. And like there was this water flow a few blocks away that I was slowly limping towards, trying to put myself out. And it was just amazing, man. Like so painful, the entire experience.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, I know you mentioned your first death by slime was because of all the hardcore hunger changes.
Oh, yeah. I've actually been considering, I don't know if I'll wind up doing it, but I've been considering changing the behavior for a while now of slimes because of that incident where they specifically only go after you if you're in a weakened state. So kind of turn them into the scavengers of the Minecraft world, you know? Because yeah, I think that would be really cool because I know it would lead to situations where like if I were to do that, people would start ignoring them. Right. And it would lead to moments where something else wounds you, and then all of a sudden it's like the slimes start coming after you, you know, and like these slow speed chases, you know, trying to get away from them and beat them off. Like I think it could lead to some really interesting moments.
I definitely could get behind that. That would be some of the funniest stuff. Because I think slimes in general are pretty largely ignored now, but that would be...
Yeah, exactly. And I think it also, like, it's a secondary consideration, but I think it even kind of fits the background mythology of slimes. Because I think that goes all the way back to D&D and the gelatinous cubes.
Right.
Which were scavengers. They were kind of like, almost like dungeon cleaners, right? That would, almost like carp or something, right? Like they'd clean the crap off the walls in dungeons and stuff. So I think it would kind of fit the background mythos.
Without a gelatinous cube and a trash pit, you know?
Yeah. Actually, it even fits them living in swamps now, too.
Yeah, very much so. I had a feeling changes to slimes may be coming, just after our discussion about the mushrooms of swamps.
Yeah, I don't think that would really increase danger.
No.
If anything, that kind of decreases danger. It's just kind of which I guess is one of the reasons I've never gotten around to doing it, is because it's largely ambience, you know? Like, this isn't really a gameplay impact, it's more just a cool little, oh my god, the slimes are coming for me moment. You know? Even the slimes think I'm weak.
Fantastic. So I managed to get some iron. I'm up to 3 nuggets.
Woo!
Oh. Freaking.
I am cooking food, Icy.
I no longer have iron.
Whoops. Oh boy. Well, on the bright side, maybe you'll see my giant mountain palace now.
Maybe. I've never been so excited for that.
Where are you, Icy?
I'm not sure. My spawn is freaking out. I'm actually going to just reconnect real quick.
You left the game?
Yep.
I'm so alone.
My spawn point is just spazzing the hell out. I'm once again in a taiga.
Icy, check this out. I am eating a cooked steak.
Ooh, moving up in the world.
Oh yeah, man. No more raw chicken for me. No, sir. So this is success.
You've climbed your way out of the pit, and I've jumped back into it.
So was that a legitimate death, Icy?
That was a legitimate death.
Can you tell the story of what happened?
I was ambushed by a wolf. I didn't realize what was hitting me, turned around and smacked it with an axe before realizing, oh, I probably should have just tossed it food.
Yeah. Yeah, once you smack them, it's
Yeah.
there's no getting them to back off.
Because I just took damage, spun and swung, and yeah. I wasn't in full health already. So I was climbing my way out of that pit.
You were just casually walking through the woods one day?
And there's taiga as far as the eye can see.
Oh boy.
I think we're destined.
Yeah,
to
I'm kind of
drift
digging.
apart.
I'm kind of digging this snowy mountain thing because the trees are sparse, but no wolves.
Oh, I've got wolves.
I'm sure you do if you're in a taiga.
Oh, I see a lot of wolves.
You know what? You know what's a fun little fact? Because do you remember how much people used to complain or bitch about finding wolves?
Mm-hmm.
I did not increase the spawn frequency.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I have actually only decreased their numbers by not allowing them to respawn.
Oh, wow.
And yet, don't they feel like they're absolutely fucking everywhere?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember my very first time playing Better Than Wolves. I spent like 3 or 4 real-life days trying to find a wolf.
Yeah, it has not changed, man.
Now I find them in hordes when I don't want them. I'm being chased
Well-
by one now, actually.
One of the secondary things that I wanted to accomplish, actually, with the whole howling thing was giving players a method to locate them.
Which is fantastic. I really
Yeah.
enjoy that. As terrifying as it is.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, it's like when you take the decision to go and tame them, it's kind of nerve-wracking. It's like you know the direction they're in, you don't know precisely where they are or whether they're starving to death or what have you.
That one was fairly close and starving to death. He had a nice satisfied burp.
Yeah, I got to say, I also like that aspect of that
Yes.
change, and that it increases the kind of danger of the area you're in as play proceeds, just
Right.
by virtue of the wildlife becoming depleted and the wolves start starving to death.
I'm out of snow. I'm actually in like a nice meadow.
You serious?
Yeah. It's kind of messing with me.
All I've seen is snow for hours.
And now it's a desert. So I kind of want to just head back to the snow. Deserts are still like the most terrible thing to go through for me.
Yeah, no, they're way worse now.
Just slow, no food, just
No wood.
no nothing, absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
The only advantage is the lack of rain, which doesn't matter to
Yeah.
me at this point.
The only unfortunate part of that is that the most difficult to traverse biome is now also one of the least rewarding.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like jungles and swamps have become kind of the most rewarding
Right.
areas. Well, no, jungles haven't yet, but it's that whole thing I've been debating as to whether to make cocoa edible, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like just so abundant, and the difficulty of jungles is still a joke, you know.
Yeah.
And
And honestly,
I made those spawning changes, but it's not enough, you know.
the way I feel, I find so much food in jungles already, just because animals get trapped in the leaves. It's just like a free-for-all.
Yeah, I know. I do have some ideas as to how I can correct that, but unfortunately, they're rather involved. Like,
Gotcha.
I don't know if I want to go on a whole other development tangent, you know?
I understand. Being chased by another hungry wolf.
How do you feel about taking a break, Icy?
That sounds good.
All right. How long has the video been going?
Almost another hour. Let me just go ahead and
Holy shit.
accept my fate here.
This is an epic LP, man.
Yeah, it is. Just gonna go ahead and accept my fate before we end this, because it's there's no getting away from this one. Though he's missing a lot. He keeps jumping past me and biting at the air. And there we are.